Hi, this is Alicia Swann, Associate Broker with Virtual Properties Realty, and today I'm back with another video. Today I'm answering some questions regarding some common questions about home ownership, so stay tuned. Well, first you need to determine how much you can afford by evaluating how much you already pay in rent and other monthly expenses. And you'll do this against your gross monthly income. And that'll help you determine your debt to income ratio, which a lender will use in qualifying you for a loan. Usually that number is around 43%, but it can be slightly higher or lower depending on the lender that you choose. And here's a tip. It helps to write out your budget to see what you're spending and where you can cut costs if needed. Make sure you check your credit score and work on improving your score if you need to, because it will impact your interest rate. And lenders are going to look at all three of the credit bureaus and take the middle score to qualify you, so you need to make sure that you stay on top of your credit. And examine your savings. Do you have a price point in mind? And if you do you have enough money saved for your down payment and your closing costs for the price point that you're interested in? Those are valid questions that you need to ask yourself. And you don't need 20% down to buy a home. FHA requires a down payment of 3.5%, and conventional loans can go as low as 3%. And if you're a veteran or in the military, VA loans don't require a down payment at all. When you're online, make sure that you play around with those mortgage calculators. That'll give you a good idea of how much your mortgage will be, but just know that these are only estimates. You can only get your true numbers by connecting with a lender for a pre-approval letter. So before you go shopping, make sure you have that letter in hand, because otherwise it's a waste of time. A mortgage is a loan that is used to purchase a home, and it usually consists of the principal, the interest, property taxes, and homeowner's insurance. And that amount is determined by your total monthly gross income and your monthly expenses. Depending on where you decide to live, you may have to factor in HOA dues or HOA fees, and those fees are usually paid annually or monthly depending on your community. And those payments or fees aren't always factored into your mortgage, so you have to make sure that you set aside funds for that. And those fees will vary, especially if you're in a townhome or a condo. And I've seen them vary greatly, from $50 and up a month in the Atlanta market. You'll also have the biggest expenses with repairs and maintenance, so make sure that you're setting aside funds for breakdowns of systems such as appliances or your HVAC, for example. And you'll have to have maintenance costs set aside for renovations, cleaning, or landscaping if you so choose. I am not a mortgage broker. That is not my ministry or my calling, so I can only speak to the minimal knowledge that I have. I do know that some lenders will go as low as $500 for FHA at the 3.5% down payment. But a good lender will be able to tell you what you can do to improve your score and what debts, if any, should be paid off or paid down. And depending on your financial situation, it may be a good idea for you to consider an alternative financing solution such as rent-to-own, or even adding a cosigner. Depending on the type of bankruptcy that you filed, the specifics of your financial situation and your loan type will all impact how soon you can get a loan. So make sure you speak to a lender for more information. Again, that will depend on your situation, and the lender can better guide you on that. Now, I do know that a 30-year loan will make your payments more affordable because they're more stretched out, but a 15-year loan will cost less in the long run. This is a tough question to answer because buyer's remorse can be real. So my thing is, you should approach purchase differently, because no house is perfect, and even those new construction homes will have issues. Think about the home as an investment. Is it a starter home or is it your dream home? You can plan on living, if you plan on living in the house for like 5 years or less, consider renting it or even selling it. If the house needs work, don't beat yourself up. Fix things when you can and not all at once. Or you can consider refinancing the house if the mortgage payment is making you anxious. Timing, you should be able to refinance, and if you're doing it when rates are decent, it'll give you some payment relief. Now, if what you want is out of your budget, you may want to wait, and that's perfectly fine, because at no point during your search should you feel pressured to move forward on a house that you don't like. And this Atlanta market can be difficult to handle, especially if you're at certain price points like the $250 and under. Now, that really depends on where you want to live. But just know that obtaining a home is possible if you're determined and you have a good agent on your side. Personally, I would say never settle on a home unless you plan on making it an investment property in the future. The real estate market fluctuates, so it's best to look at factors that impact whether or not the market is favoring buyers. Some of those factors are when homes are sitting longer or when homes are selling for less. And you may have heard online or on the news that the market is crashing, and I believe that the Atlanta market is unique in the fact that the property values over the past few years were driven up massively by cash buyers. And if you viewed any of my other videos, you know I've said that cash buyers such as lease-to-own programs have almost stopped buying on the open market. So even though it may not seem like that, now is a good time for buyers to purchase, even though rates are on the higher side, because you'll tend to face less competition and you aren't really competing against those cash buyers. All defects should be disclosed. There are even forms that the seller should be filling out to disclose information related to the home, but that doesn't always happen. Some sellers may know that there are issues with the house and just want to sell the house as is. For those, I say use caution because you don't want to get stuck with a money pit. But in any case, always make sure that you get the home inspected by a reputable company, and this also includes new construction. Just because it's new does not mean it doesn't have issues. I have a list of preferred lenders, but you can choose the company that works best for you. And I also say that you should attend the home inspection if you can, but don't necessarily show up at the time of the inspection. That way the inspector has had enough time to look around the house and report back any initial findings. And here's a tip: when reviewing the report, it can be overwhelming, so make sure you thoroughly review it with your agent, but just focus on the safety concerns and big ticket items first, and then go over the smaller issues. And again, no home is perfect, so if you find that there are too many issues, you can terminate the contract as long as it's within your due diligence period. And if you decide that you want to move forward and the seller is willing, you can always negotiate those repairs. The key word being negotiate, because you may or may not get any or all of those repairs. After closing, you should expect to get your keys unless prior arrangements have been made for the seller to remain in the home after closing. So what other questions do you have about home ownership? I want you to leave a comment below with those questions, and if you would like to speak to me one-on-one, please find a time that works for you on my calendar. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found this information valuable, feel free to give me a like, subscribe to my channel for more content, and I thank you for watching.